Have you ever heard a song so pure, so full of life, that it seemed to stitch the pieces of your heart back together? The kind of melody that makes the stars lean closer just to listen? Deep in an ancient forest, where moonlight brushed the treetops and the wind whispered through leaves, there lived such a voice. It belonged to a little brown nightingale, plain to look at, but her song could lift sorrow like the morning sun melting frost. Far beyond the forest, past rolling meadows and winding rivers, stood a palace that shimmered with gold. Its halls gleamed with polished marble, its gardens overflowed with rare flowers, and its rooms were draped in silks and jewels from every corner of the world. In this dazzling place lived the emperor, ruler of an empire so vast it touched both the deserts and the seas. He owned everything a man could desire, except joy. Not the polite joy of banquets and ceremonies, but the kind that fills your chest until you feel lighter than air. One spring evening, while strolling among the cherry blossoms in his garden, the emperor overheard two gardeners speaking in hushed awe. "Did you hear it last night?" one whispered. "The song from the forest edge, like silver drops falling into water." The other nodded, eyes bright. "The nightingale. Her voice is like nothing I've ever heard. Even the moon seems to pause when she sings." The emperor, hidden behind the trailing branches of a willow, froze. A plain bird, capturing the hearts of his people? And yet he, in all his splendor, had never heard her? The thought stirred something restless inside him. That very night, he summoned his court. "Find this nightingale," he commanded. "Bring her to me at once. I must hear her song." And so the search began. Courtiers in robes of scarlet and gold wandered into the forest, their jeweled shoes sinking into moss. They called into the shadows, shook branches, and even held out delicate cakes as bait. But the nightingale stayed hidden. It wasn't until a young kitchen maid, shy and soft-spoken, stepped forward that the search found its light. "I know where she sings," she murmured. "By the riverbank, just past the jasmine trees." Led by the maid, they ventured deep into the woods. Twilight draped the forest in shades of violet and silver. The stars had just begun to bloom in the sky when it happened. A single note floated through the air, then another and another. The music curled between the trees like a ribbon of light. The leaves seemed to hold their breath. Even the river slowed its rippling. They found her perched on a low branch, small, feathers the color of rain-washed bark, so ordinary to the eye, until she sang. Her voice shimmered, each note wrapping around the listeners like a warm embrace. They carried her to the palace in a cage lined with silk, though she would have followed willingly. That night, in the great hall lit by hundreds of lanterns, she sang for the emperor. As her voice filled the air, the emperor's shoulders, always so stiff, eased. A tear slid down his cheek. "This," he whispered, "is the most beautiful thing I have ever heard." From that evening on, the nightingale sang each night in the palace. Nobles leaned forward, forgetting to breathe. Children crept from their beds to listen from the shadows. And the emperor, for the first time in years, smiled. But beauty invites imitation. One day, envoys from a distant land arrived with a gift, a mechanical bird, glittering with emeralds and diamonds. Its painted wings gleamed, and when wound with a golden key, it sang a sweet, tinkling tune. Predictable. Perfect. The court gasped with delight. "It never tires. It sparkles like the sun. It sings on command." Soon the mechanical bird became the emperor's favorite. The real nightingale, with her humble feathers and songs that shifted like the wind, seemed unnecessary. She was thanked politely and told she could return to the forest. Her heart ached, but she flew home to the jasmine trees. The jeweled bird sang the same melody day after day. At first, the court applauded, but as weeks passed, the magic dulled. The song was always the same. Still, no one noticed, until the night the bird's gears broke. The music stopped, and so, it seemed, did the emperor's joy. That same night, the emperor fell gravely ill. The palace grew heavy with silence. Curtains stayed drawn, and the great halls echoed only with the slow, cold ticking of the clock. Whispered rumors slid like shadows through the corridors. He will not see the morning. But far beyond the walls, the moon cast silver across the forest. Perched on a branch high above the river, the nightingale heard the stillness, the kind of stillness that meant loss. She spread her wings and flew. At the emperor's window, she landed softly. Through the glass, she saw him pale and still, his breath shallow. She began to sing. A single note, soft as dawn, then another, then more, weaving together like threads of sunlight through mist. The melody floated into the room, curling around the emperor like warm hands holding his own. With each note, color returned to his cheeks. His breath steadied. His eyes fluttered open. "You came back," he whispered. The nightingale tilted her head. "I never left your heart, but I sing best when I am free." Tears filled his eyes. "I was foolish. I chose glitter over truth, a cage over the sky." The nightingale sang on, each note a promise. When the first blush of dawn touched the horizon, she took flight, disappearing toward the forest's edge. The emperor rose from his bed that day, not just healed, but changed. He ordered every bird in the palace set free. He gave the kitchen maid a place of honor, and each evening he would walk to the garden wall and listen, really listen, for the wild, living song drifting from the forest. The mechanical bird was eventually repaired, but its song was never the same. Pretty, yes, but hollow. And the nightingale? She still sings. Maybe you've heard her. Not in palaces, but in gardens, in quiet dawns, in places where kindness waits. Her music always finds those who need it most. So the next time you hear a bird song at daybreak, pause. It might just be her. And remember, the truest treasures are not always the ones that glitter, but the ones that live in the heart. Because real joy, like a true song, is never caged. If this story touched you, tell me, what's one sound that always makes you feel at peace? Share it in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe for more magical tales. And let's keep these songs alive together.